Hi, and welcome to Gladstone Access TV's production of Old-Fashioned Threshing. We're on the land of Duncan Broadfoot, and this afternoon we're going to be looking at some old-fashioned threshing, talking to some of the people involved, and looking at some of the equipment. Stay with us for this interesting and informative program. Hi, we're talking to Jim Patterson about this piece of equipment behind me. Jim, what can you tell us about this piece of equipment?
As far as I can recollect, my dad bought this binder about 1948 from the McCaskill brothers here in Gladstone. This 8-foot McCormick Deering International Harvester binder. The last year we used it was in 1958. We kept it inside for a few years until about 8-10 years ago. We had to move it outside. Sat outside for the last 8 to 10 years, and last Sunday came out 2 weeks ago, picked the binder up. It's on loan from my brother Alan to the museum here in Gladstone. They hitched onto it. The tires were still retaining air pressure. It's hard to believe it set out and can't make tires like that nowadays.
No, that's quite a guarantee, eh? Can you tell us what a binder does for those of the folks who don't know much about threshing?
Well, they cut the crop, standing crop, onto a table. The reels lay it back onto the table. It's elevated between two canvases, both running, one running underneath and one over top of the grain, into the packer shaft, into the packers, which are run by the packer shaft. It then transfers it into the knotter area of the binder, and this binder trips by pressure. The Massey's trip by weight. This binder trips by pressure. When it gets enough pressure against the knotter lever, it trips, and the kicker arms come around and throw the sheaves onto the sheaf onto the bundle carrier. They used to, some carried 6 sheaves, some only 4, because you either stoops 8 sheaves to a stoop or 12, and most stoop just 8 sheaves to a stoop. That's about all I can tell you about.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. That's very interesting.
You're welcome.
Now, the next step in the process was the creation of these stooks. We're just going to take a shot of the stooks so everyone knows what they look like, and then we'll move on to the threshing. Okay, we're just delayed a few minutes while we wait for them to bring some more stooks so that we can take a look at the threshing. While we're waiting, we thought we'd show you this machine here. Now, apparently this machine is a grain cleaning machine, and you can tell just by looking at it the kind of operation that it is. In just a few minutes, we'll be looking at the threshing operation itself. Here's a shot of some of the guys picking up stooks, and in a few moments they'll be bringing those stooks back here to the threshing operation. You can see they look a lot different from the way that harvesting takes place now. A lot of hard work involved in this operation. And there's the tractor coming back from the field, loaded with stooks, ready to continue the threshing process. Now, of course, that isn't the kind of tractor they used in the good old days. Okay, we're talking to Les Sundell now. Les is going to tell us about the threshing operation. Les, tell us what's going on here.
Now we're threshing flax. Vic Hayward's throwing the sheaves in. This is a John Deere combine. You can see he's throwing in too fast because the feeder stopped. The governor's on the feeder stopped, and it slowed down, and so they don't plug the machine. From there, it just hits the cylinder with that's a spike 2 cylinder.
Right.
Concave's in there. There's spike also.
Okay.
You slow down again.
Now,
then it goes back to your decks and then onto your straw walkers and into the blower, and the grain comes down into your grain pan and on the into the elevator there. Then it comes into the hopper up
top, yeah.
Up top. That's weighed, and then it dumps a half bushel or whatever you set it at.
I see. Yeah.
For flax, you set it at 56 and pounds, or half of that, you see.
Yes.
And then for wheat, half of 30 pounds or 60 for a bushel. And it's all tallied up in the top. See the digits up there?
Ah, so that's how you figure out your yield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not your yield, but what you're charging for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're putting through, yeah. And then the straw comes out the end in a pile.
The blower in the back there, and it's going into the pile there. Yeah.
Now, of course, they didn't have a power takeoff in those days. We have a belt, and it's being run by a tractor.
Yes, a John Deere D tractor.
Okay.
It's an old 2-speed. It belongs to Orville Lackey. The other one you see in the distance there, that's my tractor, the old 1530, and that's a case thrasher.
Oh, yeah.
Thrashing machine. It's larger than this one is. This is a 28-inch, I think, and that's a 32. It has a divide board in the center. See on the feeder?
Oh, yes.
That's to split the seeds. Two pitched into that one and 2 pitched into this one. But they see the rod up there?
Yes.
2 usually pitch into that too, but there should be a board there. Of course, we don't want to work that hard.
No, of course not.
No.
This is supposed to be fun.
That's right.
Right.
It is too. I haven't done this since 45.
Yeah. So it brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah. Yeah. The last time I ran a binder was in 41, and then I enlisted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And went overseas and came back, and things had changed a bit.
Yeah. When I came home, I went straight onto a stoop team. My dad pitched my loads off, or I don't think I'd have studded.
Les, can you give us a bit of an idea about the evolution of farm equipment? When did this type of threshing stop?
Oh, in wartime, more so than anything, I think, because that rushed it on because you couldn't get men.
Right.
And
So
they had an awful time getting men, so they brought combines right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, it's come a long way since then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly has. It's pretty comfortable to get into one of these rotor thrashers now with all the digitals, the readouts there. You just drive and watch that clock there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Les, I'd like to thank you very much for telling us about the operation.
Thank you for coming out.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate that. We formed a corporation. You knew that, a Third Crossing Agriculture Museum that's incorporated and everything.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great for the community,
Well,
and
I
great
do
that
too.
you can do this.
Sure. Gives us old fellas something to do.
You betcha.
Fix these things. Thanks.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon.